You're listening to a 3CR podcast recorded in a 3CR community radio studio in Melbourne, Australia. If you like what you hear, please consider donating or subscribing so we can keep bringing you more independent community content. For more information, go to 3cr.org.au.
Slavery is back.
Welcome to a place where private business profit from a captive labour force, yet pennies are spent on medical services to a population in which the Indigenous, the poor and the mentally ill are overrepresented. Where isolation, humiliation and degradation are facts of life. Welcome to prison.
It depends who's telling the story, I suppose. The prisoners would have one view, the people who work in the prison system would have another, and I think it's up to people to decide where the truth is.
Give government propaganda and the media spin doctors the flick. And check out Doin Time for news, views and tunes on prison issues from Guantanamo Bay to Christmas Island to prisons and detention centres everywhere. Every Monday at 4 p.m. on your community radio 3CR.
We are still fired up and we're still talking about revolution.
Hello and welcome to the Doin Time show. This is 3CR Community Radio, 855 AM on the dial, streaming live on www.3cr.org.au. And a warning that this episode of Doin Time contains audio images of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people who have died and graphic discussion of deaths in custody. First up on the show, we will bring you an interview with Monique Hurley, Managing Lawyer at the Human Rights Law Centre, who will talk about the Youth Justice Bill 2024 introduced into the Victorian Parliament. She will also discuss the ongoing campaign for the Youth Justice Bill, which needs to be supported and strengthened in a few key ways, notably by raising the age to at least 14, removing new police powers, removing new powers to transfer children to adult prisons, and scrapping their electronic monitoring trial. We'll speak about all this and more. Then, after that, we will hear from Nargis, who is an Iranian asylum seeker, and she's from the group 12,000 Captive Souls, which is primarily made up of Iranian refugees, and they've been protesting from time to time outside the Oakley office of Home Affairs Minister Claire O'Neill since last year. And she will talk about the fast-track process and about how refugees and asylum seekers are in limbo, and we'll discuss the ongoing campaign and resilience in the face of adversity in the protest arena. So we will be speaking now to Monique, but before that we will hear an announcement.
Enjoy an evening of songs with Sue Johnson's Living Out Loud, Carl Panuzzo's Feel Good Choir, Gorani, Mixed Drinks, Sonidos del Alma with Yaki Vallejo, and Kavisha's Lingua Madre. 3 songs for 3CR. 7:30, Friday, August the 2nd, 1 Mark Street, North Fitzroy, boite.com.au. The Boite, a 3CR supporter.
Beautiful music. It makes you want to just go to sleep. This is Marissa, and in case people have just tuned in, this is the Doin Time show, and we're going to be bringing you an interview now with Monique Hurley from the Human Rights Law Centre. Hello, Monique. Welcome.
Hello, Marissa. Thank you very much for having me.
It's been a long time, hasn't it, Monique?
It has, but it's always really terrific to come on the Doin Time show.
It's lovely to have you. Now, you've been hard at work here along with other lawyers at the Human Rights Law Centre who have called on the Allen government to be brave in transforming Victoria's youth justice system. Can you talk about the Youth Justice Bill and what's going on, and then help us to understand the ongoing campaign around it?
Sure. So the Youth Justice Bill was introduced into the Victorian Parliament a few weeks ago now, I think in June earlier this year, and it has been a piece of draft legislation that's been in the works for a really, really long time. I think, the sector has been involved in consultations around the draft laws for 5 or so years at this point. So the draft laws are a really long time in the making, and I think that it's fair to say that they present a promising starting point and a much-needed improvement on the status quo in terms of the youth justice system in Victoria, but that they could be strengthened in a few key ways so that the Victorian government's commitment to raise the minimum age of criminal responsibility to at least 14 years old is enshrined in legislation, and a few other things to make sure that we're creating the best environment for all Victorian children to flourish.
Indeed, but the proposed youth justice changes fall short, don't they? How is that?
Yeah, there's a few really key concerns that we have about the draft laws, and a few of those you mentioned at the outset of the program, which are not only is there a failure by the Allen government to raise the age of criminal responsibility to at least 14 years old, which is consistent with recommendations made by the Europe Justice Commission, a number of other reports and inquiries, international human rights law, all of the medical and criminological evidence. It was also really disappointing to see in the draft bill that there are proposed powers for police to be able to deal with 10 and 11-year-old children once the age of criminal responsibility is raised to 12. Those police powers are really concerning because they not only will allow police to transport children that young, but there's also powers provided in the bill to detain children at police stations, to use force on them and to search them. And we know that whenever there's an increase or new police powers that allow police to exercise more discretion, that the brunt of that is borne disproportionately by Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander children and other children from multicultural backgrounds and communities. So we'd like for that part of the draft law to be abandoned in recognition of that. There's also provision in the draft laws for an electronic monitoring trial on children, which we're really concerned about. There's no evidence that electronic monitoring works to reduce crime. It's a really expensive, ineffective and harmful approach that all it will do is expand the walls of kind of youth prisons and the prison industrial complex into children's homes and communities and really set them up to fail. And then the other thing that is of particular concern is powers that make it easier for children as young as 16 years old to be transferred to adult prisons. I think we should all be really brave and bold and ambitious in trying to work towards a future where there are no prisons. And in the meantime, really problematic powers like this that allow children to be detained in adult prisons is really just counter to all of the evidence, all of the international human rights law standards, and is something that we're very opposed to.
Yeah, we've actually conducted quite a few interviews with the aunties and the commissioners as well from the Uruk Commission. And indeed, in September 2023, as you already know, the Uruk Justice Commission recommended that the Victorian government raise the age to 14. And you've definitely touched on over-incarceration and the way that Aboriginal children are criminalised. It's really important, isn't it, to have Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander children on country, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And it was really disappointing when the government responded to the Youth Justice Commission and all of the, the deep knowledge and expertise that has gone into setting up that truth-telling commission, and then all of the people that have gone before it and, given their really brave testimony to that forum, and for the government to come back and only reject a handful of recommendations, and for them to particularly reject raising the age of criminal responsibility to 14 years old was something that was just really, really disappointing. And I think that raising the age to 14 is the bare minimum that's needed in order to achieve the goal of supporting all children to thrive in the community. And just reflecting on, like, the current age of criminal responsibility is just 10 years old. So we're talking about 10-year-old primary school age children. And that's just really out of step with the rest of the world. And, around the globe, they've raised the age and the sky hasn't fallen in. And so it's really important for governments to be acting on the evidence and doing everything they can to divert children away from the criminal legal system in the first place, and keeping kids on country in their communities supported by their families.
We really do need to get away from this penal settlement 1788 model. And you've talked about the proposed surveilling of children through a trial ineffective electronic monitoring. Could you comment on the youth bail laws as well?
Yes, that's another. I feel like there's just been quite a lot of disappointment this year.
Indeed.
In terms of what the government has kind of offered and then what they have delivered, because there was really promising youth bail reform promised by the Labor government last year that would have, almost been best practice in terms of removing a lot of the reverse onus provisions that apply to children in Victoria.
Yeah.
And earlier in the year, they backflipped on that commitment and said that rather than going down the path of enacting that best practice bail reform, they were committing to the electronic monitoring child, which, I think is really about scoring cheap political points rather than doing anything that's going to help, divert children away from the criminal legal system. And we're really disappointed to not see more ambitious bail reform in the Youth Justice Bill.
Absolutely. I mean, one of the things that really stands out here for me is the fact that it's important that youth prisons ban harmful prison practices. And I think the Human Rights Law Centre media release speaks about this, and indeed the Doin Time show looks at solitary confinement, strip searching and spit hooding of children. And we've done lots of interviews about some of those practices. Could you comment on that?
Yeah, so the Youth Justice Bill really interestingly bans the use of solitary confinement on children, which is a really positive step. But then the provisions in the law that ban the solitary confinement are then followed by a number of provisions that, try and ban the use of isolation on children, but then include really broad carve-outs or exceptions for when the use of isolation can be used on children, and broad to a point where we've got concerns about whether they will actually kind of curb the use of isolation at all, which is a particular issue in Victoria at the moment, where it appears like use of isolation on children in prisons is pretty rampant, and that's to do with staffing shortages, which should just never be a reason to, be, violating the human rights of children detained at the hands of the state. Similarly, there is provision in the Youth Justice Bill to stop the routine strip searching of children in prison, which is also a really good thing to see in recognition of the harm and the re-traumatisation that's often caused by subjecting people, particularly children, to routine strip searching, but also some pretty broad kind of carve-outs or exceptions for circumstances in which strip searches will be still allowed. And so that's something that we're also concerned about. There's also provision in the bill to ban kind of restrictive practices, and it's a bit unclear to us whether that includes spit hoods or not, and so that's something that we're also calling on the government to do more explicitly in terms of if the intention is to ban the use of really, archaic and barbaric practices like the spit hooding of children, for that to be made more explicit in the bill.
Monique, you've given a really great summary and overview of the bill. If people want to know more or if they want to help with the campaign, how can that happen?
If people are interested in supporting the bill, if they go to the Change the Record website and click through the links to get to what action you can take in Victoria, there is a write to your local MP letter writing template set up through the website that will allow you to email Premier Allen, Attorney General Jacqueline Symes and your local Member of Parliament, calling on them to raise the age of criminal responsibility to 14 in this bill and to take out the police powers. And so I would encourage people to get online and do that.
Monique, thank you so much for coming onto the program. I really wanted to have you on really to discuss this from a legal perspective. We did interview someone from Jesuit Family Services, namely Andrew Yule, and he spoke a lot about things from a moral perspective, but it's always good to hear from the Human Rights Law Centre to talk about the ongoing work that's being done.
Yes, well, and it's not just us. We're part of the Smart Justice for Young People Coalition, which is a coalition of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander, human rights, social services, health, youth, religious and legal advocates, including Jesuit Social Services, who are all working on this together. Yeah, calling on the Victorian Parliament to back and strengthen this youth justice bill.
Fantastic, and thank you for that minor correction.
That's okay, don't worry.
No, that's fantastic, and I'm glad there is that coalition. How can people actually speak to that and get in touch with that coalition?
Googling online, Smart Justice for Young People is the name of that coalition, and they're up on social media on the, what do we call it now, the X, not the Twitter.
Okay, yep.
And, yeah, following along.
Yep.
The key organisations involved in that are us, the Human Rights Law Centre, the Victorian Aboriginal Legal Service, West Justice, the Jesuit Social Services, Youth Law, YSAS, YUCVIC, and a number of other organisations. So if they're all good to follow on social media and, yeah, follow the things that they're posting to get involved.
Thank you so much, Monique. Any final comments before we finish?
No, I just think that this is a really critical point for the Allen government to make a choice about whether we're going to continue down this path of ratcheting up tough on crime politics, which fails everyone, or whether we're going to go down a path where we support evidence-based alternatives which work and which ensure that every child gets to grow up supported with their family and in their community, because kids don't belong in prisons, and it's time to start working towards a future where we make that become a reality.
Absolutely. Monique, thanks a lot and keep up the good work.
Thank you so much, Marissa.
Thanks. Take care.
Because the Palestinian fight isn't just the Palestinians' fight, it's all our fight, because it's a fight not just about land, it's about a fight for freedom.
Everybody should be standing here today saying, free Palestine. solidarity with our Palestinian brothers and sisters on behalf of the Gumbaynja Nation, my people who've never ceded their sovereignty.
We should be recognising Palestine as a state and recognising the rights of Palestinians.
3CR. Stay tuned, stay radical.
3CR is about community, and we welcome your participation at the station.
3CR is open to a wide diversity of volunteers and is a great way to connect with Melbourne's activist community.
Have you ever thought about volunteering, doing a reception shift, getting a program on air?
Training in radio skills or contributing to one of the station's committees.
There are many ways to be involved at 3CR.
To find out more, go to 3cr.org.au and get in touch.
And you're back with the Doin Time show, and it's approximately 4:21, and you just heard an interview with Monique Hurley from the Human Rights Law Centre, who is the managing lawyer, and spoke about the Youth Justice Bill and campaigning to change a lot of draconian measures, which is a violation of human rights. We're crossing over now to the beautiful Najez, and we're going to be speaking with her very soon. And she's from the group 12,000 Captive Souls, which is primarily made up of Iranian refugees and has been protesting outside the Oakley office of Home Affairs Minister Claire O'Neill since last year. But they're going to be moving today. And they are often joined by refugees from Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Iraq, who are in the same situation. They set up an encampment in Oakley nearly 2 weeks ago, this time staying overnight, and saying they will keep up the protest until the government acknowledges their situation and offers them permanent visas. The number of tents grew from 2 on the first night to 10 to 12 by the following week. O'Neill is no longer Home Affairs Minister, so they are moving their protest this afternoon, Monday, to the Home Affairs office at 808 Burke Street, Docklands. Hello, Najez. Welcome to the program. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
It's so lovely to have you. I just wanted to properly introduce you and the cause.
Yes, I'm Nargis Chaterian. I came to Australia since 2013 with my family.
Oh, that's wow. And how long ago was that?
It's more than the 11 years because that's this July, 16th of July, the anniversary for 11 years. We finished 11 years and we went to 12 years.
So tell us what's happening. What's going on and where are you at the moment?
We are on the front of the Home Affairs office department because we stay here a long time, and we ask this government, the current government, because the previous government took random decision, and they choose a random decision. Someone yes, someone no. And we rejected our case. But our process, the refugee application process, doesn't completed yet. And for example, in part of the one family, the son accepted, but the parent doesn't accept it. The daughters accepted, the brother is not accepted. And we asked them, we are here for a long time. Please let us know how many years we have to be in limbo, and for our process does take time. How many years we have to waiting? Let us not to apply for permanent residency. We contribute this society. We working hard. Most of us, we have a successful business. Our kids study. and we are pay tax, and we're working. We want to pass to Australian community. We want to give them service. We want to build this country, but we still have to waiting until the government allowed us able to apply for permanent residency or not.
It's terrible, really, what's going on, and so that means that you can't get Medicare or you can't work?
Some parts of because our community, the bridging visa community, is more than the 10,000. 90,000 asylum refugee got the permanent residency, but around 12,000 left behind. And some part of us has a Medicare, but the Medicare is terrible Medicare because every 6 months it should be expired. And when we apply for new Medicare, they say the process for new Medicare does take 3 months. And when we receive the Medicare, we have to apply for new Medicare because 3 months take a time until the new Medicare. And some of our community has a work right, but some doesn't have a work right. And also our kids born here, but they don't have any certificate, birth certificate. And,
that's right. So you're saying that when the visa is cancelled, you then have to apply again. But some people don't even get any service, do they?
Yeah, exactly. And also, our kids grow up here and they went to uni and they want to study the higher education. But when we going apply for uni, we have to pay the international fee students. You know, it's difficult. We are local. We're working here. We pay tax without any benefit. And we have to pay everything double. For example, if we want to buy house, we have to pay 13% of stamp duty.
Yeah. So you've been affected by fast track, haven't you? But it's been set up in a way that it's pretty unfair, where asylum seekers have failed and had no way to appeal.
Exactly. It was unfair, and some people they accept, and some people not. It wasn't correct and reasonable decision. It's just a random decision. When Scott Morrison was power, they just choose it as a random, but it's unfair. 12,000 people is left behind. Even they here more than a decade. We lose our family, our love is passed away obviously, and we're not able to have a chance to one time we see them.
Tell us how we can support you. Tell us where it is, where you are, and what people can do to help with the protest. And it's still happening, isn't it?
Yes, it's still happening. And we were at Keller O'Neill office around 2 weeks. And today we moved to Department of Home Affairs. And we're happy to stay here until the government give us the results. They have to respond to us. How many years we have to waiting in limbo? And they said one of you are not eligible for refugees. That's okay. They put it the review. They have to put it the review. As you know, Iran is not safe. Iran is a dangerous country, and everyone has to escape. Lots of the young women and young boys, a few 2 years ago, at the street, killed by government. And,
Iran is not safe, and it's not safe to go back.
Yes, it's not safe to back, but still we have to prove to government, the Australian government, we are reality refugees. Our government is killer, dangerous, and when we back to our country, they might be kill us and send to us to prison. We can't back to Iran. Also, our kids grow up here. They don't know about any of our culture.
So because Claire O'Neill is no longer Home Affairs Minister, the protest has now moved, hasn't it?
Yes,
to the Home Affairs office at 808 Burke Street, Docklands.
Exactly.
Is that right?
Because one of the representatives has to be responsible to us. And we joined with the Sri Lanka community as well. And they came together, our brother and sister all together. And all of us asked the government how many years we have to wait.
Can you tell us your story of how you got here?
Yes, I have a disabled son. He's very intelligent, and he's graduate in Iran. Yes. But when we forced to escape from Iran, you can imagine how I escaped from Iran by boat with disabled son. I was concerned. After 12 years, I can look after the sea or ocean. Every night I have a nightmare. And I thought if some of my kids not able to get Australia, during this trip, what can I do? What I could do now? And it's very difficult.
It is difficult because people that arrive by boat have arrived by boat because of the awful policy that's happened are not being treated fairly.
Exactly. We not have any choice. We have to escape. Even we die at the ocean. But when we get here, we start on the other government, same as the Iranian government, Scott Morrison and Tony Abbott. We happy to Labour Party comes up and we thought maybe they look after us. But still after 2.5 might be around the 3 years Labour Party power, but still they don't give us the one response. What we can do now.
Exactly. Tell us a little bit about what's going on now outside there. Are there many protesters there, police?
Yes. My brother, sister, all friends in here. Also, my disabled son is on the wheelchair as well. And as you know, the weather is too cold. And last night, too many my friends sleep in front of the Claire O'Neill's office in the tent. And tent was very wet. And all of blankets and the clothes, everything was wet. And they sick. Some people went at home. Some people continue with us in front of the Home Affairs Department.
So you'll be staying overnight there?
Yes. We want to oversleep here.
And do you need people to come and bring food or drink?
Thank you. Our parents make food, but if you help because we need some warm blankets, we need some chairs, we need some good tents, because our tent is not good quality, and a lot of the rain came to inside the tent. And yes, drink is good, and some disposal cups, something, yes, we need. But usually our parents is make food and drink. We can share it.
So, okay, so we need to let listeners know that there is a live protest at the Home Affairs office at 808 Burke Street, Docklands.
Yes.
And it's really important that people show their solidarity and support for refugees and asylum seekers.
Exactly.
And I'm just interviewing Najez at the moment about this, and we're talking to her live from the protest.
Okay.
Very important, isn't it?
Yes, exactly.
So there's about 10,000 people who are in immigration limbo because their claim for asylum was rejected under the fast-track process introduced by the coalition in December 2014. Are you one of those people?
Yes, I am. And from 2018, I applied for federal court, but I am still waiting for court hearing. From 2018, we are still waiting for second hearing of the court.
Yeah. Okay, so people need to rock up to 808 Burke Street and show solidarity for refugees and asylum seekers. And this protest is long-term, and we need to support our Iranian sisters and brothers and to help people so that they can have their visas renewed and to be able to work and live in the Australian community and contribute, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
You sound very tired.
Let us now to call Australia our home. Let us now to call Australia is our home, because we already lose our home. We don't have any home. We can't back to Iran.
You can't go back to Iran because it would be dreadful there for you.
Yes, terrible.
Thank you so much for coming onto the program, Najez. Are there any other comments you wanted to make before we finish?
No, thank you. All good. I just want to ask you, it's published as a podcast or...
Yes, we can arrange that.
Okay,
we can arrange that, don't worry. I'll send you the link.
Yeah, that's good. Thank you so much.
And we will see if we can do some more interviews next week.
All right, that would be great. Thank you so much.
Is there any media there at the moment?
Yes, as I said, if you bring for us the good blanket or heater, the some heater is chargeable, we can back to home and charge it and bring for our friends, and they can keep warm, and blanket as well. And
blankets,
yes, the bag sleep bag.
Sleeping bags? Oh, yes. So blankets and sleeping bags.
Yes.
Yep.
And also we need disposal cups and some disposal dishes.
Disposable cups, dishes, blankets, and sleeping bags.
Yes.
And better tents.
Tents as well, yes.
Yeah, so see if you can kindly donate some of those things to make people feel better. It is a terribly harsh, cold winter, isn't it, at the moment? And it's really important that we bring attention to this very important issue.
Thank you. Yeah, exactly. Thank you for understanding us.
Thank you very much. We'll talk very soon. Take care.
Thank you. Yes, you too. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Because the Palestinian fight isn't just the Palestinians' fight, it's all our fight, because it's a fight not just about land, it's about a fight for freedom.
Everybody should be standing here today saying, Free Palestine.
solidarity with our Palestinian brothers and sisters. On behalf of the Gumbaynggirr Nation, my people who've never ceded their sovereignty,
we should be recognising Palestine as a state and recognising the rights of Palestinians.
3CR. Stay tuned, stay radical.
Stand in solidarity with Palestine this Sunday.
Hi, it's Nasser Mashni from Palestine Remembered, Australia's only dedicated show on Palestine. Join me every Saturday morning at 9:30 and very importantly, get along to our rallies. Sunday, 12 o'clock, State Library. Join us.
We have to mobilise to show our support for Palestine. 12 p.m, State Library, this Sunday.
Rally to demand freedom and justice for Palestine. No war on Gaza.
Free Palestine Melbourne is a 3CR supporter.
Careful when you walk through this land, because a child was born here, and a child was born there. Oh, 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 yeah. Oh, 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 yeah. Stains of blood and water that come from the mothers for the son, and it on the mountain, in the valley down below, across the open plain the sea, the rivers and desert, and the rainforest so green, I can see nativity. Baby girl wrapped in the ashes by the pillar bone where she was born, so that she will return. Because a child was born here, and a child was born there. Oh, 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 yeah. Oh, 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 yeah. Yeah, can you feel it?
Have you heard about the Territory Stolen Generations Redress Scheme?
It's for mob who were taken from family and community when they were kids.
The Stolen Generations in the Northern Territory, the ACT or Jervis Bay.
It's acknowledgement and payment for survivors to help with healing.
You can apply right now or just find out more. Call 1800 566 111.
Or visit territoriesredress.gov.au.
Authorised by the Australian Government, Canberra.
A 3CR supporter. This is the Doin Time show, 3CR Community Radio, and it's approximately 4:49, and you just heard two songs. The first was A Child is Born by Archie Roach, and we also heard a song by the beautiful Alice Skye, who is a beautiful Aboriginal musician as well. We're nearing the end of our show, and I just wanted to summarise some of the material that we played on the show today. And first of all, I wanted to thank both Monique from the Human Rights Law Centre and also Najez, who we crossed over to at a live protest, long-term protest at the Docklands. And I also wanted to issue a special thank you also to David Glantz from the Refugee Action Collective, and he actually
actually helped me get in touch with Najez. We did interview her quite some time ago now, last year, on the show with a number of other Iranian women as well. So this is really an ongoing issue. So I'm going to summarise and read out quite quickly the material that I read at the beginning, just so that in case listeners have just tuned into the Doin Time show, they can just get a little bit of background about the protest. So about 10,000 people are in immigration limbo because their claim for asylum was rejected under the fast-track process introduced by the coalition in December 2014. Many of them have lived in Australia for 12 years and have raised or given birth to children here. Fast Track was set up in a way that ensured most asylum seekers failed and had no way to appeal. The numbers have come down about 12,000 because some have given up and left Australia. Those caught up in this situation are on bridging visas that need to be renewed every 6 months. Some have work rights, some don't. Some have Medicare access, some don't. Those with Medicare lose their card every time their visa expires and have to apply all over again, a process that takes months. The group, 12,000 Captive Souls, of which Najez is part of, and she was interviewed today, is primarily made up of Iranian refugees, has been protesting from time to time outside the Oakley office of Home Affairs Minister Claire O'Neill since last year. They are often joined by refugees from Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Iraq, who are in the same situation. They set up an encampment in Oakley nearly 2 weeks ago, this time staying overnight, and saying they will keep up the protest until the government acknowledges their situation and offers them permanent visas. The number of tents grew from 2 on the first night to 10 to 12 by the following week. O'Neill is no longer Home Affairs Minister, so they are moving, and I think they already have moved, their protest this afternoon, Monday, to the Home Affairs office at 808 Burke Street, Docklands. At the time of interview, they are now currently in Docklands. It's freezing cold out there. Their tents are quite makeshift, so there's not much there. And they need disposable dishes, cups and plates, some food, and also warm blankets. This is pretty full on. I mean, these are people that are all protesting to get their human rights recognised. These are gross violations of human rights, and there are children involved. And in fact, Najez has a son with a disability who is with her, and she talked about how they came by boat from Iran. These people cannot go to Iran. They will go back to torture and possibly being killed as well. So we're nearing the end of our show, and please support the encampment at 808 in Burke Street, Docklands, and it's really important to support that protest. So I'm leaving you now with that very, very important notice and summary, and stay tuned every Monday for the Doin Time show from 4 till 5, and I'll see you next week. Be kind to each other and rock up to that protest. Thanks a lot. Bye.
You've been listening to a 3CR podcast. If you found it valuable, please consider donating or subscribing to support independent community radio. To find out more, go to 3cr.org.au.